Hello, I'm Susan McDonald with Susan Jane Style, and I help people decorate and live stylishly. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how I purchased a pair of accent chairs at a thrift store. I immediately saw their potential, good bones and all that. And I thought, I think I can recover these. They turned out really great, and I'm going to share some advice with things if I was to do this over again, how I would do it to make it as easy and so they could turn out as beautiful as possible. So let's get started. I am in downtown Los Angeles on Wall Street, where there are several really nice fabric stores, all with home decorative kinds of fabric. So some stores have 2 floors of beautiful decorative fabrics. The prices are really good. That's my project today. 2 big chairs, faux wood chairs. So looking for fabric, I have all my measurements. Hopefully I'll find something. Here are my tips that I would recommend if you were to take on a project like this, specifically for a pair of chairs. Tip number 1, when you are choosing your fabric, you want to make sure to account for, if you're choosing something with a large repeat, you will need extra fabric in order to get everything matched up. Tip number 2, buy extra fabric in case you make a mistake. I bought plenty of fabric and I did have some mistakes, also accounting for this was a very large repeat, but I bought plenty of fabric. Tip number 3, buy or source the correct tools. Maybe you can borrow tools. I had to buy tools. My first step was to kind of clean up the chairs and then remove the fabric that was on the chairs. I had just decided I'll just use my screwdriver, my flathead screwdriver, and I'll just pop those staples off from the staple gun. And let me tell you, my hand was so sore and so tired. I said there has to be another way. So I sourced this tool. You can see it's got the pronged edges there and it's got a bend in the neck. So I was able to leverage that and my hand was not nearly as tired. So I think I got this on Amazon. I think like $10 or $12. It wasn't expensive and that was a real game changer for me. In addition, my chair originally had a piping detail and there was a channel edge piped trim needed to be glued in or stapled in, and I just didn't have a tool. My staple gun just wasn't going to deliver those staples in that deep. What I did is I came up with a different solution to hide that raw edge because that raw edge was showing. I cut bias strips of fabric. I sewed those, turned them inside out, pressed them down, and because they were on the bias, easily would make a nice curve because I had to mount those and glue those down. You're gonna have to be resourceful as well if you may not want to, rent those tools. I just used bias trim and that worked out just fine. Tip number 4, this is huge. This was one of my biggest mistakes. I started a chair and I think I came back to it maybe like 6-7 months later. What I had done is I'd used the old fabric and I used that as a pattern to cut out my sections, my generous sections. And so I started one chair, came back to I'd already had the seat done for one chair. So then I had to work on the other chair and I was like, oh, I should have cut these at the same time again because they're such a big repeat. So I did the best I could. No one will notice that the fabric on my seats are not an exact match. It's close. I should have cut them both at the same time. So work on the same section at the same time. Tip number 5, which is use the old fabric off the chair. Use your old fabric as a pattern. Lay that flat on your new fabric and cut generously around that for that same section. Tip number 6, where do I find home decor fabric? I live in Los Angeles and there is a street in downtown LA called Wall Street and there are at least 3 home decor fabric stores. Their prices are fantastic. They've got bolts and bolts and bolts of fabric. I assume that you can buy Decorator fabric online. I haven't explored that, but I'm sure that could be done. Tip number 7, This was also huge. This was one of my biggest mistakes. I decided after I added my bias trim around the back of the backs of the chair to hide my work, I decided, oh, it'd be really cute. Look at this cute like miniature brush trim. That will be so cute to put that on the back. It'll just jazz it up. I should have slowed down and pinned that and mocked it up, stepped away far across the room, taken a photo, something to check my work. I did not do that. I simply used my glue gun, hot glue gun, and I just glued that down. And I stepped away and I was like, oh my God, I hate this. It's so busy. It totally detracted from the chairs. So then I had to rip that off. Okay, so now I have another sort of row of glue around the back of my chair. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do here to fix this? And I certainly was not going to reupholster and redo any backs. So I decided, you know what? I will just cut some more bias strips, sew it up, turn it inside out. So now there are 2 rows of bias trim around the back of the chair because I had to hide the glue from the mistake I made, but that worked out just fine. No one needs to know. I know, nobody else needs to know. You guys all know now. So tip number 7, listen to friends and family if they have a suggestion for you about the piece. I had finished my chair and I had a house guest. She came and she sat in my chairs and she's like, Sue, I need a pillow behind me. I need a pillow. So I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I have extra fabric. So voila, I made some pillows to go in the back of the chair. Use and act on the suggestions that you like. My final tip is have fun. This is a creative outlet and it will test your creative abilities because like I said, I had multiple mistakes. I was like, how am I going to get around this? Have fun, enjoy yourself, find a fabric that really brings you joy, find a project that you know will be able to turn into something really fun. When my sister came to my house and she saw my chairs, she literally said, Sue, those are Decorator chairs. And I took that as a very high compliment. So that's it. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a great time making the chairs. Took me a couple years, but better late than never. So remember, decorate, live stylishly, and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share this out with someone that you think might enjoy this. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.